and welcome to a quick overview of Bohemian Violin Expansion 2. I'm incredibly excited to finally reveal what this third iteration of our violin brings about. But firstly, what I've just played, that was played live, just an improv, no key switches, force keys or CC. It's just you sit down and you play, and the virtual performer handles the bowing, bow direction, legatos, etc. like that. Now, in the Expansion 1, we've paid very close attention to on-bow legatos. And the Expansion 2 pays very close attention to Bow Changed Legato. And now, what is the difference between the two? It can easiest be explained by actually showing. So what we're going to play first is an on-bow legato. Now, by on-bow legato, we mean that the notes are connected by a singular bow stroke. The bow direction doesn't change when you change the notes. So let's have a listen. So that was on-bow legato. That's when in notation you would see a line connecting numerous notes on top of it, like a little roof. Now these notes are played on a singular bow direction. However, in reality, even if we look at the manuscripts, there is quite a lot of notes that are not connected, but they are still part of a phrase. And with Bohemian Violin, we've always aimed to remain in phrase, in musical phrasing at all times, because that's what gives it that oomph, that realism, that emotion. And Expansion 2 achieves this to incredible level, really. We've sampled additional over 20,000 samples, making the total of the samples over 50,000. I think it's 56,000 samples. And oh boy, does it add things. So now I'm going to play Bow Change, where effectively every new note is played on a new bow. Right, as you heard, it's clearly a phrase, but each note is, distinctly on a new bow. And this really adds a variety that in the past we had to handle simulating it with mid-arcs, arcs, sustains, etc. But in this Expansion 2 version, we no longer have to simulate it. We have real captured parts of performance for these parts, as we had for on-bow in Expansion 1. And the true power of it comes when you actually use it all together. So let me just improv a little bit when I will be blending between the two and observe how many changes there are between on-bow and bow change. This allows for completely new phrasing, never before available, with Bohemian Violin. And you still retain all that richness of the emotion and this, real lifelike playing without the need of any MIDI programming. Now, with us, the way we've designed what is bow change and what is on bow is to pass as much control over to the performer and at the same time allow the pianist or whoever is controlling the keyboard to still have a robust control over it. So every time you overlap, it's an on bow. We class that as you playing on the same bow. And every time you don't overlap, as long as it's played the new note within this timer, which is, this is a release timer effectively, it will class it as a bow change. Now, if you play after that release timer, that will be a new bow. It will be start of a new phrase. It will understand, okay, this is a new phrase. But as long as you play within that, it will class it as part of the same phrase and carry on using the in-phrase samples we've got available. And this really comes beautifully together, but it wouldn't be complete if we didn't have rebow. So let's play a little bit of rebowing. Right, as you heard there, that every note I can rebow it and gain momentum, and there was that little hidden gem which we never talked about. There is tremolo. If you rebow really, really fast, it will actually reach tremolo speed, and then it will actually use real tremolo samples, which we not only captured, but also made them available to be actually live playable like this. So the rebow action is really intimately sampled in great detail, and the auto rebow actually uses even wider variety than if you rebow manually. If you rebow manually by repeating the same note, it will actually aim for the longer rebows, and that way, even if you've got the auto rebow on, you can still nicely end the phrase by just rebowing manually, because the moment you rebow manually, you're telling the auto rebow, okay, we're ending the phrase. And it just allows for this really easy on-the-fly control, which you hear me play. I mean, it really is that simple. So now we're going to have a look at some other addition which was requested, and that is non-vibratos. Now, over the course of the development of Bohemian Violin, of course we're concentrating on capturing the performer as much as we can, like how they would approach the phrase. But we understand that some people prefer occasionally to use non-vibrato. So we've made this forcible non-vibrato. It's captured in 3 dynamics, in numerous bow directions and true rebows. But at the same time, we've connected it to all our own bow legatos and Bow Changed Legato. So effectively, once you force the non-vibratos, you can then play overlap notes for on bow, or you can play a bow changed, and it will just connect the non-vibratos appropriately. Now, non-vibratos are forced on. They can be as a key switch or force key. I'll leave it on a force key, and I'll just activate the force key as I improv a bit here. So let's have a listen. So those were the non-vibratos. Again, if used sparingly, they can add a lot. Now, this is obviously not a Baroque violin by design, so I wouldn't recommend playing a whole phrase of non-vibratos, or even to the extent I've used it over there. But it still allows the flexibility now to use it whenever appropriate. Now we get to one of the things which I guess those who already own Expansion 1 will be very familiar with, and that is moods. Moods are basically presets of behaviors where the virtual violinist will approach the phrase differently based on the mood you have selected. So let's first have a listen to the improv again. That's what you've heard throughout the whole video up till now. I've been using improv. The improv is by far the most flexible. It's like a really easy instrument to pick up. You sit down, you start playing, and it reacts really well from high speed to low speed, and it tries to accommodate the widest variety of play style, and it's probably the mood you will use the most. However, we also have Chardage, which is much more suitable for the aggressive upper tempo. It opens the phrase with marcatos to give it that bite and grudge. So a little bit of a warning, it might be loud the first note I play. Very assertive, aggressive mood, and it offers the appropriate style for when you need that. However, exact counter opposite to that is a motive, which is suitable much more for slow to mid-speed pieces. And that one will aim towards the most emotive selection of bows we have. So it affects everything from on bow to bow change to the rebows it uses, and it sounds like this. I still love the featherly. It's when that bow is just touching the string and slowly, featherly moving over it. It brings something really special to the mix. But moving on, we have Sprightly. Now, Sprightly was a mood that came about when we were experimenting with blending staccatos, spiccatos, and marcatos, and we thought to create a mood that gives very harsh and assertive double stops. And, I mean, in my mind, I always return back to the Witches of Eastwick, but you will also hear it quite a lot in Eastern European carols, where the strings in the background are playing these type of, staccato to marcato, this sort of a sforzando at the beginning. So, it's again really useful, but I'll just play a little bit on that here now. And now it brings us to one of my favorite editions of the expansion 2. And this is sort of a mood we've toyed around with quite a lot. It's got, again, a completely its own set of behaviors. And this mood, concertino, it's mostly fingered legato, so it doesn't slur much. It's much more about using fingered legato in a mid to higher speeds. It's got a lasting bow on by default to extend the on-bow legatos, but the idea of the concertino is to use it on pieces that require assertive playback, but without too much scratch or bite like the Czardash. It's definitely one of the moods I've enjoyed doing, and it's brilliant for faster arpeggios and things like that. So I'll be just playing something live, so let's see what happens. And finally, I get to reveal the Maestro. We first shown it in our beta improv. It's basically a polylegato mode, but with us it's more of a poly performer because you can still use the bow change, you can still do the on bow, and it allows you to write basically duets on the fly or use it for double stops. The Maestro button can be assigned to any CC by right-clicking on it. I have it assigned to CC64, which is a sustain pedal. And I'll play a little folk tune from Czech Republic, which I hope you enjoy. It's actually a Moravian folk tune. And that will be the end of this overview, but we'll see you again in upcoming tutorials that we will make over the course of next few weeks. And for more information, just visit our website to learn more. Take care, everybody, and we look forward to seeing you again.